for joining us at Healing House today. There we go. I'm very relaxed. I don't know about you. I gotta turn my brain on now. I'm Aubrie Weinholt, one of the curators for the exhibition of Britt's paintings, which we're all surrounded by right now. And I'm here alongside co-curator Frederick Janka, sitting next to me. I wanted to take a minute just to explain just a bit about who we are, our involvement in Healing House, and more about the work that you see around you. I'm the founder and director of Weinholt Projects and Care for Artists. Weinholt Projects is a gallery project that I recently launched, which produces non-traditional exhibitions that draws from my over a decade of experience working with artists in an alternative capacity through PR for Artists, which is a creative agency and art house that works with artists to holistically support their careers. Frederick Janka is an arts advocate and cultural producer with nearly 20 years of experience working in the contemporary art world. He is currently the board president of the Museum of Contemporary Art, Santa Barbara, cohort member of Ready the Museum Initiative, and co-founder of J.C. Connolly, an independent art consultancy. Frederick and I were really excited to work with Britt for this iteration of Healing House and curate a show that actually really encourages you to interact with paintings. To gather my thoughts, my notes rather. In many ways, the work here mirrors a healing journey, and exhibiting them in this way is meant to encourage you to literally get up close and move around the art so you can feel and see the energy that Britt has put into each of these pieces. All of these paintings combine sacred rituals, like sacred geometry and sage smudging, and they also incorporate a lot of materials that are natural, like powdered crystals and non-toxic plant-based acrylics. So there really is an energetic and almost sculptural element to how you're supposed to experience and live with these paintings. And that's what I think makes Britt's work so exciting and compelling, especially during a time where we see shifts in the art world and the ways people want to experience art. Something I really try to work on is putting on exhibitions that take you out of the white cube gallery space that can feel sometimes stuffy, right? And I think really getting creative with how you interact with work just invites you to have a different experience about how you can live with it. And so what I mean by this is that this exhibition, these works, are all encompassing and they really require you to use all of your senses. It's not only the five senses we're experiencing today. We're being asked to go deeper into the spiritual realms that we cannot see but can emotionally connect to. It is a rare human being that can bring all these elements together. So I applaud you, Britt. Where are you?
She's running.
There she is. These aren't just paintings. They're talismans that you live with. And Britt's work is part of a bigger picture of how healing can be a part of your life and how art can be a stepping stone into an ongoing healing experience and lifestyle. And with that, I'm just gonna have Freddy talk a little bit more with all his expertise in the art world and give you more context of the paintings.
Thank you, Aubrie, and thank you, Britt, for inviting me to be a part of this. We are two very different personalities, one who likes to prepare her remarks and one who kind of goes off the cuff, but have had the opportunity to have some nice conversations with Britt and Aubrie in putting together this exhibition. I really am happy to actually be sitting up here. I didn't think I would, I knew we were going to be talking, but I didn't know I'd be sitting here in my head, but it's really beautiful to be able to see the other side of the paintings, even though they're reflected in the mirrors, to be in this space. And to echo most of what Aubrie said, oh good, Britt's joining us. To echo most of what Aubrie said, these are very much talismans, these are very much medicine, these are objects that have energy and are meant to be in relation with your body. So I think being physically enveloped right now by the soft glow of your all the energy that you've put into your work. Great, thank you. So one of the conversations I had briefly with Britt was about, I mean, this is probably, oh gosh, I think 1914 maybe, that Annie Besant, a theosophist, wrote a book called Thought Forms. I don't know if anyone's familiar with thought forms. It ends up being a very influential book at the time. Maybe people know Kandinsky, the artist Kandinsky is pretty well known. He's an artist that was very influenced by the work. There's also Hilma af Klint, who had a big exhibition at the Guggenheim a few years ago and has been shown in LA. But these are artists that looked at Annie Besant and to her writings. She puts forth a proposition that humans can essentially project energy, thought forms. And these energies have shapes and colors and meanings. And so she, within her book, which I encourage you, it's been reissued, it's I mean, this is, 1914 or something. I mean, this is over 100 years old. But a moment where you're having this sort of intersection of sort of artists looking at spiritualism, looking at God, at energy, at community and coming together. Some of you may be familiar with Ojai. Annie Besant settled in Ojai, and Krishnamurti, she was somebody who was very supportive of Gandhi during his time and brought Krishnamurti to the United States. There's lots of, if you spend any time up in Ojai, again, Ojai is this magical place where somebody who's talking about energy over 100 years ago is also in the same room with an artist like Marcel Duchamp, Beatrice Wood. So there's, I guess what I'm pointing to is that this is very much in a long tradition of artists looking at other modalities for inspiration, but also out of a generosity for humanity. I think Hilma af Klint is somebody who, really saw her paintings as, as healing, as really being open, basically having a way of reading them, right? And I think, if you grab the checklist, it's just kind of a baby step into reading Britt's paintings, because it kind of breaks down the alchemy of what comes together, and it really will offer you some sort of insight as well as just a physical understanding of what is in front of you and what your body is in relationship with. And I think props to Aubrie for this installation concept of hanging paintings for wire in space, right? But this is very much an opportunity to also engage the work in 360. Like, they are sculptural, they're physical, they have presence. When you live with this, you are living with energy. You're living with something, I think about too. I'm a big art collector, love art. Anything I can do with art, dawn to dusk and beyond. It's the painting that you walk down the hallway every day and look at. It's the painting that you sit and have breakfast in front of. It's the painting you share a meal with friends and family in front of. It's the piece that you look at every morning when you wake up. Like that sort of repetition of a mantra, a repetition of something that's sacred and special, but it's on your wall and you live with it. And I think that's something really special that the generosity of Britt's heart is, and her path, her journey, her healing journey that took her to this place, really is a unique and special gift to all of us. So I think I just wanted to be able to spend a few minutes with you to talk about really the trajectory of what in art history. Like, how do we, as humans, from we see with cave painting, right? The nature, the instinct to mark, make, and share stories in a healing space, right? Most of these, as we are learning, were sort of shamanic spaces, right? Caves were these connections to the other realms, and oftentimes included, medicine and hallucinogens and others. But that's our humanity. We all share that. We all share this essential need to make marks. And so we fast forward to where we are now, and I think many artists have explored very similar expressions of color and meaning and material, and I'm grateful to be able to be here to share the space with and the stage with these fabulous people and the Britt. So big thank you for everyone for being here, and Britt,
Thank you, Freddy. Yeah, I just want to back up a second. Thank you. We both went to the School of the Art Institute of Chicago.
Oh yeah.
Actually, my girl Ashley over there did too. Can you just give people like a little brief summary about your background in art?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great connection. That's kind of one of the first reasons I even said yes. I was like, oh, well, of course, we're in the same school, we're good. So I grew up in Santa Barbara, just a little north of here, and just was always just needed to make art and be around art and loved art, top to bottom. Went to art school in Chicago, and it was a moment where I got to, the degree it was a new program, it's called Visual and Critical Studies. So it was an opportunity to make art, so to have some studio classes, but with a strong focus on art history, theory, and criticism. So it's a BA essentially in an art school context. Well, there's also a master's program now too, but it was really an opportunity to work with artists, learn about art history, but then also what I ended up learning about myself was that I had much more fun, because then I was painting and doing photography and performance and all sorts of things that you do in art school. But I realized that I was having more fun organizing apartment shows and screenings, 16mm screenings in my living room, and bringing artists together for parties. And so that kind of took me down the line of the curator and working in galleries and museums and nonprofits. And then 10 years ago, a dear friend who is now no longer with us was part of an effort to get me to move back from New York to Santa Barbara to work for the Museum of Contemporary Art. And I hate saying that, but your story makes me think of this, is why I'm saying this, but I hate it when people say things happen for a reason, but sometimes they really do seem like they do. But a dear friend, got me to come back with promises of rosé poolside in Ojai and lots of beautiful time together. But really, within the first couple of months that I had moved back, she went to the hospital with a glioblastoma, brain cancer. And so I was able to really spend this last year of her life being out in California. And so I ended up going on to run a foundation that was in her name for the past 6 years. And part of that was also being involved in the Museum of Contemporary Art, where she had been a board member. And so that is kind of why I'm back in California. Never thought I would ever come back to California, but it is funny how these things happen. And so here we are now. So I am definitely passionate about artists and opportunities to support, and the healing in my practice is really in a space of Latinx and Black and Indigenous healing, and sort of coming together around art and contemporary art. And I think we're in a moment where a lot of us are looking to other traditions and cultures and modalities for healing and for some answers about why we're in the situations that we're in right now.
Thank you so much, Freddy. Yeah. Do you want to maybe just ask Britt, or Britt, tell us, are there a couple pieces that are your
yeah, actually, here I'm
House?
gonna ask the question.
Okay, I think that was, yeah.
I totally forgot about this. So you got taken down memory lane. So something, and again, this was something that I reacted to very quickly with thinking about any of the thought and thought forms, right? And there are these there's two pieces in this exhibition right now that really sort of immediately, made me think of that and made me think about. Also, numerology is very important for you. So in pulling together the exhibition with Aubrie, there was this idea of these paintings behind us, right? So that you're looking at the paintings, but you're also looking at the reflection of paintings. And so this painting behind you, so we found these 4 paintings, not this one behind me, but the 4 verticals. And then we're like, okay, well there's 3, but then the 4th one has 4 sort of amorphous energy shapes in them. So we're like, okay, well, we'll do the 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 3rd has the 4. And so would you talk about this 3rd painting, this one that has the